It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles.
Good morning and welcome in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I'm all right. We have fancy stuff on our desk today because it's Ryan McCormick's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ryan McCormick.
And it's all gold. Do you know why?
Well, 24,
That's
golden
right.
birthday. I didn't realize, for the smart guy me, thought that 25 was the golden birthday for the longest time, and then everyone reminded me that 24 was. That happens. I will say, though, Ryan is all dressed for the occasion. He's dressed for the occasion. In the gold. Knights are in action tonight. We'll get to that in a little bit.
That's right.
As well. We got a lot to get to today. Vegas Matty in studio about 9:40 when Vegas Matty will be here. And then Andy McNeil in about 15 minutes from now, getting you ready for tonight's games. And also we'll see if Andy has any in-play series price bets for today. All right, let's get to it. Alex, number one, our starting five, the starting five. Starting with the National Basketball Association from last night. Road teams finally winning some games in the NBA. Pacers dominate the Milwaukee Bucks, 125-108. The Mavs, in what was a slugfest, put together about 2.5 competent minutes of offense straight, and that was enough last night over the Clippers, who got Kawhi back, but it didn't matter. 96-93. Dallas won, covered the number as well. And the last one, the only home team to win, and they're up 2-0 now, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another impressive win, 12-point win and cover over Phoenix, up 2-0 now.
Sorry, Jeff. I was jumping in because I think Minnesota is definitely one of the most impressive things we've seen. This series has completely switched. Remember the last regular season game, Phoenix went to Minnesota and handled their business, beat them easily. They beat them twice, actually, in the month of April, and now this series has flipped. It's been all Timberwolves. Their defense has really showed up. Very impressed with Indiana as well because the possessions actually went down from game one, from 98 to 94. They were able to score 125 in that short possessions there. So they were very effective offensively, and the Bucks really struggled defensively against them. Moving to number two, though, we're looking at games for today. We've got the Boston Celtics, number one offense in the league here, 14.5-point favorite. That total, 203.5. We'll have to dive into that and get your thoughts on that one. And then, of course, we've got the Thunder minus 7.5, 211.5 in this one here at South Point. Interesting, Jeff, and we'll talk more, but the Thunder were 7.5-point favorite in game one, closed -9, and that was a very tight game. OKC did not look like the team that we saw all year. So interested to get your thoughts if maybe you like the Pelicans getting points tonight.
We'll get to that in a little bit. There's one in these two that I think is good for tonight. One game that I just would not touch. You'll find out in a few minutes in the 2-1-8 matchups tonight. And actually good on the NBA actually having these games actually in succession for once in there, which is doesn't happen very often. All right, number three. In the NHL yesterday, well, if you followed on the Ranger Capital over, it was a no-sweater, easy there in the second period. Rangers, it took them a while to get going in that game, but they win. They don't cover the puck line, though, so that was a little rough if you had that. 4-3 win over the Caps. Florida and Tampa was the best game of the day yesterday. Tampa looked awful in the first period, but found a way to get the game to overtime. Carter Verhaeghe, though, the winner in OT to get it done for the Panthers. Florida up 2-0 as that series will shift from Sunrise to Tampa 2 days from now. Colorado, after getting in a 2-1 hole, just dominated the rest of that game yesterday against the Jets. That series now tied at 1 apiece. And then the big one, though, Alex, is that we might not see Thatcher Demko the rest of this postseason, especially if it's a short outing for Vancouver, and they missed them last night. Preds really were not particularly impressive last night, Alex. They only attempted 16 shots last night, and they scored 4 goals, 1 on an empty net. Casey DeSmith was not good for Vancouver, and Nashville has notched that series and won with a 4-1 win.
Florida had more shots on goal than Vancouver and Nashville combined.
Yep.
So that was a tough game to watch there, and I'm a little concerned for Vancouver. We'll get Andy's thoughts because he was a Predator believer. We'll see how confident he is now with this series. But, Jeff, I have to tease you a little bit. It was a bad day yesterday to say that you don't trust Sergei Bobrovsky.
Bobrovsky was excellent yesterday.
The save of the playoffs so far. Right now, he looked fantastic. But my main takeaway from last night was Colorado is back. That is the best I've seen them look since February 27th when they beat the Stars 5-1. They really put together a full game, especially after falling down early in that game, 2-0 hole. But second period and third period, they were 1-0 hole, and then second period, it was all Avs in that one. So coming back from giving up 7 goals and 23 shots, they looked really good. I'm a little concerned for the Jets now moving forward, but have to move to today's games. NHL, Boston Bruins and Toronto. That series now tied at 1. That's a pick'em. That total has moved up to 6 now. VGK and the Dallas Stars. The Stars minus 160 here. That total 5.5. No, that total is also up to 6. And then we've got the Kings and the Oilers. Oilers minus 192 total. 6 in that one as well.
Give my thoughts a little later in the show on that, where there's two today that seem good based off the pricing. And as always, one game that I want nothing to do with, which we'll get to a little bit later. Andy McNeil in about 15 minutes right now. He will give thoughts on everything that comes, or not even 15 minutes, 10 minutes from now for Andy McNeil. Get all the thoughts on that. All right, last one here on the starting 5. The NFL draft is a day away tomorrow. Again, Caleb Williams still expected to be the number 1 overall pick. The betting markets, if you want to if you want to bet on Caleb Williams to go number 1 overall, it's minus 20,000 right now. Ryan McCormick, you got that money? Minus 20,000? 20,000 to win 100? Yeah, there we go. We could do that for Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels and Drake May pretty well solidified by the betting markets at number 2 and number 3, respectively. And then, as the fun cliche is, the draft starts at number 4, as it looks like right now. Just a matter of who's going to be making those picks at number 3. Pick at number 3. New England seems to be willing to listen to offers for that 3rd overall pick.
Going to be very interesting. Draft day is always a lot of fun. If you're a big NFL fan, tomorrow should be very, very fun.
All right. Let's get into this here today, Alex. I just want to go back real quick because I want to go back to the NHL before we start in the NBA.
Okay.
Just one thing with the series prices that are available for the NHL. I'll just ask you this because we're going into the Bruins and the Leafs tonight. Is there anything to be had in that series? It's a pick tonight. It's a pick in the series now. Is there anything to be had in that?
It's a great question because I was going to get to this later, but I like the Bruins tonight. This is a team that's really good on the road. I don't have their exact record right here, but I know they only lost 9 games on the road this year. So it's going to be a tough game for Toronto, and they're missing Nylander. We know nothing about his injury or when he is coming back, and that is huge for Toronto in this one. So maybe that's a better price to jump in on the series because if the Bruins win this, they are going to be a much bigger favorite, especially when they're one more game there and then they're going back home. So that's interesting, Jeff.
That's the one I'm most intrigued on, and we'll ask Andy McNeil in a few minutes on that. We'll save the other NHL things because I just got Andy's big play for today. We'll say that's for one of the games tonight. We'll save those other 2 games tonight for Andy McNeil. We'll go to the NBA, though, because we may not have a lot of time in between here. Phoenix last night gets decimated by Minnesota again. The Timberwolves, I'll just say this real quick. It's a shame that Minnesota got on the same side as Denver for this postseason, Alex, because they are more than capable of winning multiple series. The problem is we know the historic matchup. Jokic owns Gobert. I just don't see how Minnesota can beat Denver in a 7-game series, but this one, unless if something changes quickly, I know there would be some people that be like, you know what, maybe Phoenix is worth a flyer. No way. No way with the way this has looked through 2 games. Could Phoenix look great in game 3? Of course. They're probably going to. What do we have right now for game 3? Let me double check that number to make sure my notes were right on the early part of that. Game 3 for Phoenix. Phoenix is 4. This is Friday night. I mean, you would only be able to lay Phoenix 2 days from now. But if you want that series price, I wouldn't even bother. I would not do it. I think Minnesota's going to win this series, maybe even in 5 games at this rate.
Well, and the biggest concern is the Suns have been the worst fourth quarter team, and that showed up again here. They just quit playing yesterday. For that game 3 coming up, though, Jeff, I'm very intrigued with taking Phoenix in the first quarter or maybe first half. Like we know, game 3, going back home, that's when we usually jump in on that team that is 0-2.
Phoenix is a 3-point first half favorite as well right now, which sometimes, again, you will inevitably see it in one of these games where the first half is actually going to get bet to be a bigger number than the whole game,
right,
or equal to the whole game. You will see that, especially with tomorrow, when it gets to tomorrow, when all 3 teams are down 2-0 returning home for tomorrow's games. All right, looking at today real quick, Alex. Boston and Miami is completely unbettable for me. Just completely and utterly unbettable at this point. 14.5, 203.5 on a total. The only thing I will say, looking at the way and look, Boston was a great 3-point shooting team, and when they shot the 3 well, they were virtually unbeatable this year. They shot 22 of 49 in game 1. That's 45%. That's absurdly good. And they got it from Hauser. They got it from Zinger, was good from 3. They got it from Derek White. Horford made a pair. Obviously, Tatum was awesome with a triple-double. I just wonder the sustainability game to game of the 3-point shooting for Boston. Now, the problem is I don't think Miami's capable of realistically staying in these games without Jimmy Butler. 14.5 is a lot. But I can't get there on this just because of the talent gap with no Butler in this series.
I can't either. And the way the Heat are playing defense right now in a zone defense, I mean, they're giving Celtics all the opportunity to take these 3-point shots. 22 threes in that first game. 66 of their points came from the 3-point line. I can't do anything with this either, Jeff. I mean, that total is extremely low. Maybe I'll wait for in-game, see which way I want to bet that. If it's starts out at a faster pace, right, and we can get a better number, maybe 10 points higher, we can go under that, or vice versa there. But because, I mean, these two, when they played in the regular season, we saw much higher totals. And Boston, I mean, they're capable of putting up a lot of points themselves.
Then let's get to the second game tonight before we bring in our guy, Andy McNeil. This price is off for me on the second game. I think New Orleans even worth the sprinkle on the money line at plus 270.
We just saw with the Thunder closing at -9, and that was a tight game the entire thing. So I think it is pretty evenly matched here, and you're okay taking the points with the Pelicans. But I do think that the Thunder will be much better in this second game. We know they're inexperienced, and we saw that definitely show up in game 1.
Thunder, 7.5 right now against New Orleans, 211.5. The total on this one with OKC, again, looking to go up 2-0 in this series right now. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, Andy McNeil joins us next. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
From the South Point Studio, the perfect blend of sports.
But I think the Niners are going to wear them down. Detroit Pistons lost their 36 games.
Comedy.
See over-under on that relationship lasting. I'm going to put mayo in the coffee.
Yeah. I am beautiful.
And a whole lot of Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Join Ryan McCormick.
That's at least 2 picks outside of our own in the first round next year. Oreo.
And host Frank Nicotero.
I look at the clock, I go, ah! Ah!
Oh!
Watch Punchlines live at noon every weekday.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books. 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day.
Well, welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles, Alex White alongside, and now joining us. It's a great pleasure to always have this guy in. Hockey betting analyst, our guy, Andy McNeil, with us right now. Andy, thanks for getting up with us today.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm up a little bit later than you, or a little earlier than you guys, because I'm an hour ahead. So not that much of an issue.
Not too bad at all. Of course, CanadaSportsBetting.ca/puck portfolio for Andy, where you can find all of his work right now. Let's since you're definitely playing to the crowd here with what you're wearing here, Andy. Let's get into it. Vegas, a very weird game one to say the very least, but they find a way 4-3 over the number 1 seeds in the Western Conference, Dallas. Tonight, Andy, we're looking at behind us. Dallas is a significant favorite, all things considered, at $1.60 here against VGK, upwards of plus 145 even available, plus 140 behind us right now with a total of 6 on this one tonight in the Lone Star State.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Ottinger, pretty poor game from him. He allowed 4 goals on his first 10 shots. Vegas only had 15 shots in the game, but it didn't matter because they did get that substantial lead, and they were able to hold on to it, of course, and survive that push by the Dallas Stars. Dallas outshot Vegas 30-15 in the game. So, the Stars, they could have used a better performance from their goaltender, but seems like the market is kind of expecting the same sort of thing in game 2, and I'm not quite sure we'll see that. I think there's a little bit too much overconfidence out there in favor of the Dallas Stars, and I like Dallas a lot. I think they're the better team here, but there's a lot of uncertainty here. We saw Winnipeg get the jump on Vegas in game 1 of the opening round in the 2023 playoffs. That wasn't the case, obviously, with the result, but Dallas, did look like the more complete team in game 1 in this series. Of course, Vegas gets the win. I don't know if it's, a bit of zigzag theory or whatnot, but I think there's a big overreaction here. I think this one should be priced closer to minus 133 in favor of Dallas. I bet the Golden Knights at plus 143. I think depending on what jurisdiction you're in, it seems like there are some pretty generous prices out there. I saw even a plus 155, not available to me, but it was sitting out there because Dallas had got up to around the minus 180 mark. So, I just think this is a big overreaction. It would not surprise me to see, what we've seen a lot in this matchup, and that the games could probably be decided by 1 goal, one way or the other. We've seen a lot of overtime games in this matchup. I'm not understanding the shift here, and I'm going to play Vegas as a result.
Another way to look at this, Andy, is an overreaction with the total. That first period, we saw 4 goals, I believe, and now we're getting 6 here. But I think in game 2, it'll tighten up a little bit. We do have really good goaltending on both sides with Ottinger and Logan Thompson. Are you in agreement with that, or are you staying away from the total here at 6?
I'm staying away from the total because Dallas has been an over team all season long, right? Like you think that like they're a great defensive team, they've got a great goaltender, etc. But that hasn't resulted in them staying under the total at a high rate or anything like that. I think these two teams are neither team is going to have the luxury of being able to sit back on anything, and it's going to be a pretty aggressive back and forth series. So I would expect a lot of 4-3 finishes like we saw in game one, something around that range more often than not.
Andy, going to the early game tonight, do you have a series bet on Boston laying a game and a half? Toronto took game two, now that that series had won. It's a flip tonight in Toronto. Total of 6 here. Just how are you feeling right now with what you've seen from Boston through 2 games? I know we have all sorts of history on the Bruins side because of what the Maple Leafs have done historically in the postseason, but this does seem to be a pretty even series, talent lies at a bare minimum.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's played out pretty much like I had expected it to, with Boston's edge and goal kind of keeping them in it. And, just overall, just them having more depth on the blue line and whatnot. But Toronto played a much more complete game in game two. Obviously, they lost 5-1 in game one, but I don't think the score was necessarily reflective of how they played in game one. A little bit undisciplined. As far as the penalties go and things like that. But yeah, they played a complete game in game number 2. Boston has the luxury of having 2 really, really great goaltenders in Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman. Would expect the Bruins to switch back to Swayman in game 3 here. Looks like William Nylander is probable, I guess. He's going to be a game time decision on Wednesday. So yeah, that's a big boost for the Maple Leafs. He was skating alongside Holmberg and Jarnkrok at practice on Toronto's third line. So definitely a big boost to get a guy that scored 98 points in the regular season back into your lineup. Not sure how healthy he'll be, but it's important for Boston to get this game, not only for my series bet, but you don't want to give Toronto the upper hand here heading into game 4, of course. But yeah, I think it's going to continue to be a tightly matched series. I think Toronto should be a small favorite. Given the uncertainty with Nylander, I think they should be a little bit of a bigger favorite if he's in the lineup. But not enough where I would bet against my series bet on the Bruins here. I think the sports books have this one mostly right.
I'm glad you brought him up. I want to bring up another injury because Vancouver wins the Pacific. They have Demko playing wonderfully all year long, and now he's hurt. I know you were on the Predators last night. What does that mean moving forward? Can Vancouver still win this series, or are you going to kind of go game by game?
Yeah, I'm game by game in this one. I was very close to backing the Predators to win the series, just couldn't get there, kind of borderline. Obviously, in hindsight, wish I had done it anyway because it would be a great position now. But this one's a 50-50 matchup, in my opinion. Not quite sure how long Demko is going to be out, if he'll be back in this series, etc. Looks like he injured his knee late in game 1, might have jammed his leg against the post. But yeah, big loss for the Canucks. Really, I mean, I had Nashville. I thought there was a bit of an overreaction from game 1 to game 2. Thought that game 1 was arguably the most evenly matched game of any game 1 this season, and so I took the Preds at around plus 140. Then the news came out that Demko was hurt and he wasn't going to be available for game 2. So obviously Nashville came way down, plus 110. So that just shows how big of an impact Demko can have, a 30-cent move. And then heading into game 3 in Nashville, I don't really like how Nashville played game 2. I felt pretty fortunate to get away with that one. The Preds, they got the early lead. They scored on their first shot of the game. They beat the Smith 74 seconds in. So that was great. But then they were just holding on for dear life the rest of the way in that first period. They settled things down early in the second. They scored 2 quick goals, got up 3-0. And that was enough for Nashville. It was really a shot blocking clinic after that. They actually set a new franchise record for a game that did not require overtime by blocking 32 shots. The shot attempts were 83-36 in favor of Vancouver, so 75% in favor of the Canucks. But the thing that stood out to me, aside from the shot blocking, of course, was that only 16 of Vancouver's 83 shot attempts were considered high danger shot attempts. They had a 16-10 edge in that category against Nashville. So only, even though Nashville only generated 36 shot attempts, about a third of them were pretty dangerous looks, and that's why they capitalized. Wouldn't bet the Predators at the current price. I think the series line is priced correctly as well, looking like a pick 'em right now at most places. I've got this one as a 50-50 matchup. Should be fun the rest of the way.
Andy McNeil with us right now, the Puck Portfolio, of course, the show for Andy. Andy, just looking at the East real quick, obviously we talked about the 1-1 series. The other three are all 2-0. The Rangers look significantly better. The Canes haven't had their best stuff, but are up 2-0. Florida survives an OT to go up 2-0 on Tampa. They're all big dogs. The team's down 2-0. Is there any of those dogs down 2-0 that you would even consider right now pulling the trigger of a big bloated price on right now? Or is it, hey, the chalk's going to prevail here in advance?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the chalk is going to prevail. The Rangers, they should win this one upwards of 95% of the time. Capitals, they played a pretty competitive game in game 2, but, that was their best effort. Ovi isn't a factor. Kind of sad to see him be such a non-factor. He's got 1 shot in 2 games. Even his coach is, commenting on how tough of a matchup it is for him. He looks like he's struggling out there. Kind of curtains for the Washington Capitals. Same thing goes for the Islanders. I'd be more inclined to see the Isles maybe steal a game here. They've announced that Ilya Sorokin is going to be starting for game 3. I kind of understood why they didn't go with him in game 1 or game 2, but I'm a big believer that you should go with your best guy, and I think he is the best goaltender, even if he wasn't necessarily the best this season. So I think it's curtains for the Islanders as well. As far as the Lightning go, though, I mean, on a game-by-game basis, I think Florida should be around a -110 favorite here on the road. So maybe a little bit of value on them right now. But I'd probably wait for a spot and see if just on a game-by-game basis, things get kind of out of hand in terms of how the Lightning are priced, because we've seen 2 competitive games. Vasilevsky's obviously still elite, Bobrovsky's been great, but 2 games decided by 1 goal. I don't think that would be surprising to see that be the case for the rest of the way in this series. Might see a blowout here or there, but these teams are pretty evenly matched, all things considered. The Panthers have the edge in some categories, but between goaltending, defense, etc., I think this is a fairly evenly matched series. I just think the Panthers' skill is going to win out, and they're gonna come away and advance to round 2 about 88% of the time now. So I'm not interested in backing any of these dogs in the current series that are down 0-2.
Andy, before we get to the final game tonight, I do have to ask you, because you said off air you have a ticket on Winnipeg to win that series. I do as well. I was very confident that the Jets could beat the Avs in a 7-game series. Now, Hellebuck's not playing quite like he did against Colorado in the regular season. Do you think we see Brossoit? I mean, they have a great backup, or you think they stick with him? And how are you going to tackle this series moving forward?
Yeah, I'm probably just going to ride out my series bet, see how it goes. I did bet on the Winnipeg to go over 3.5 goals on their team total at +140 in game 2. Obviously, that didn't get there. They look good to start. They scored early. They were controlling the play, but they failed to capitalize on those 2 early power play opportunities, and that really gave Colorado life. The Jets, they regained their lead in the second early, but just a disastrous end to that second period. I mean, the Avs tie the game, then Hellebuck mishandles the puck, beside his own net. They get the 3-2 goal. And then Winnipeg is on the power play, and as the power play is expiring, Josh Manson, a defenseman, jumps out of the box. He gets sprung on a breakaway, something that shouldn't happen in the NHL really, but does quite often, I guess. But yeah, the Jets just let that one slip away for sure. So that one hurt a bit. But yeah, it's tough. Ball Arena, where the Avs play in Denver, is a tough place to play. The Avalanche were the best home team this season. Their home and road splits are pretty significant. They score about a goal more at home per game than they do on the road, and their goal differential is a lot better at home too. So it's going to be a tough one for the Jets to hopefully win 1 out of 2 at least in Colorado. But if they head back to Winnipeg down 3-1, it might be tough given how Hellebuck has struggled.
Before we let you go, the only other game we haven't mentioned tonight, Edmonton in your neck of the woods is a big favorite against the Kings. Kings totally overwhelmed in game 1 by that offensive attack. Is LA, is this just, it feels like the time for Edmonton where maybe it is, all right, bust through, win multiple playoff series, even if they don't make it to a Cup Finals, all right, at least they get to a West Final? Or is that was just, hey, we're for the Kings, just adjusting to the speed that Edmonton has in game 1?
I don't know. I think, the Oilers, they were 1-7 in the McDavid era in game 1. Yeah. And so they, that was their first win in game 1 since 2017 versus the Anaheim Ducks, where they won games 1 and games 2 and lost that series. So that was a step in the right direction. Of course, they had lost 7 straight game 1. So, I mean, getting out and getting off on the right foot like that against the team that they're very familiar with, a great sign. But they've had trouble with the Kings. I mean, I don't expect Los Angeles to win the series, but coming in, I expected the series to go 6 or 7 games, and I don't think I've changed that yet. I mean, if Edmonton comes out and plays like they did in game 1 and game 2, like you said, Los Angeles was just totally overwhelmed. It'll be a different story, but yeah, right now I'm not counting the Kings out. I don't think that there's any betting value on them necessarily, but I do think there's been such a big adjustment on Edmonton here that it's pretty tough to say that there's any value on that side either. They were a -170 favorite going into game 1. They are now up around -195, -200 at a lot of sports books. And that's not just all sports books either. That, they were opened up around -185 and they were bet up to that -200 range, -450 to win the series now. So yeah, I mean, it's looking good for the Oilers, but it'll be interesting to see what Los Angeles does tonight, because whatever plan they had to stop McDavid clearly didn't work. He had 5 points in the game. He set up 3 goals, 3 of the first 4 goals, the primary assist on those goals, and their D pair, Vladislav Gavrikov and Matt Waugh, got just absolutely ate up by McDavid. The shot attempts were 36-11 when McDavid was on the ice in favor of the Oilers. So, I mean, if that happens again for a couple of games, McDavid only played 19 minutes in game 1, too. He usually plays like 23, 24 minutes in the playoffs. So, I mean, they could be double shifting him tonight, and he's fresh to do that. So it's going to be interesting. It'll say a lot about where the Kings are and how they can react or bounce back from that performance in game 1.
He's Andy McNeil. Again, get him on the tweets. Digital Gambler. The show is the puck.
I will say,
yeah, go ahead, Andy.
I do like the over a little bit, though. I'm going to consider it because Los Angeles has to bring everything tonight to get this win. They've only ever beaten the Oilers scoring less than 4 goals once in their 5 playoff wins. So, if they're going to beat the Oilers, they've got to score 4 or more, and Edmonton's not going to go down easy either.
Andy, always a pleasure. The Puck Portfolio, where you can find Andy's work. Digital Gambler on the tweets. Andy, I know everyone in the studio is hoping everyone the jersey you're wearing comes through tonight. Ryan McCormick is wearing his jersey as well, so it's a full-on party already here in this studio. So, see, Andy, what are we reaching for here?
I'm going to take it off and put this on right away, just so you know.
That's what Andy's rooting for, is to get his Boston -1.5 games home as well. Andy, pleasure as always, man. Thanks for hanging with us this morning.
For sure. Yeah, have a great day, guys. Go Vegas.
Absolutely. Go Knights, go, right? There we go. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, Vegas Matty in studio joins us next. He's running a fun draft contest over at footballcontest.com. We'll tell you about it and much more when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rock and dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White is here as well. And now joining us, footballcontest.com, the site, one of the best, if not, actually not one of the best, the best proxy service here in town to get you ready for all your great contests, super contests. One you were always in, the Golden Nugget contest,
Yes.
and of course Circa Million as well. Our guy Vegas Matty with us right now.
Good to be back in the South Point studio.
I know it's been a while. It's great. It's great to have you in here.
Yeah, great to be here.
So let's before we get into the draft itself, and of course, people are already ready to go for the contests in the fall. You're running a great promotion with a chance with the grand prize, which I will say, I'd be pretty jealous of whoever wins that grand prize for this contest you're running this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free entry to any football contest in Las Vegas. So
Pretty good.
anybody, even Vegas locals, get into it and just go to draft.footballcontest.com. It's a free contest. You just answer a bunch of questions. There's some gimmies in there too. I think if you look at the way the different draft props, the prices have changed. There's some pretty easy ones that are you should be able to get no problem. But yeah, I mean, this is our 3rd contest we've had since the turn of the new year. We did a Super Bowl props contest. We did a March Madness bracket challenge, and now we're wrapping it up with the draft challenge. And yeah, we gave away a free entry for each of those previous contests. And this one, the grand prize it's worth $1,000, free to enter, like I said. And then if you don't hit that, you could win a $500 credit for a football contest for 2nd place, and then a free proxy service for 3rd place. So even if you finish 3rd, you still got something to play for.
Still awesome.
Yeah.
Any of the top 3 is an unbelievable win, regardless. The link right now, Jerry, if you could put the link that we put out this morning in on our tweet into the YouTube page, YouTube chat. If you're there right now, we'll link there. If not, if you're on Twitter right now, the tweet with Alex White's smile this morning that we sent out before the show with the link to the contest online today.
How did you do in those first 2 contests? How many people entered?
Yeah, so the first contest we had was the Super Bowl props. We had about 200 entries, and then the March Madness one was about 300, and we're still hoping to get over 100 for this one. I think it was like at 95 before I came in here. So hopefully this gets a little press, but you know what? The better odds for the lower number. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, better odds. That's
There's
what I was
6 of
thinking.
us in studio right now.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that gets you to 101.
Yeah, let's do
To
it.
say the very least. I don't know if Sean had already signed up or not, but I know as soon as the show's done, I know I'm filling mine out for sure. Just because tomorrow is really the day where it's like, okay,
Exactly. Yep.
everyone, I know that there's win totals up in other jurisdictions and even some here in town, one book in town. that has a national presence. But tomorrow is really the day that is like, okay, we can now first round. By the end of Saturday, it's all right. We're just waiting for the schedule, which will come out about 10 days from today.
Right.
And then we can fully dive into the 2024 NFL season.
Now, we've already had free agency. You've seen some movement there. And now the draft is kind of like the official kickoff in Detroit to get everything kind of started and all the excitement to build. And then the schedule release, you get to see who's got the easiest schedule, the toughest schedule. And those guys at Circa are just waiting for that before they put up their rules and everything. And they're going to start kick off their contest entries at the end of May. So look for that before Memorial Day weekend. And then you got the Super Contest, probably July 1st again. So, yeah, it kind of just starts everyone thinking about football now that college basketball's over. I know baseball and you still have NBA and NHL playoffs, but, NFL is still king no matter what.
Any big draft bets for you, or not big necessarily, but any that you like a lot?
Well, I think there's one of the questions. I don't want to give it away.
Okay.
But there is one question to do with offensive players being drafted. I think they're expecting a record number. The record is 19 offensive players, and there's kind of an easy question on there between offensive and defensive players. So I think I'm not sure what the current number at some sports books are, but it's like in the low 20s, something like that. So I know it could be as high as 25. But yeah, I think it's a slam dunk that it'll be a ton of offensive players. Like I'm from Chicago originally, so I know they're
thinking to take two,
yeah,
more likely than not.
Offensive players in the top 10 most likely, and then I don't even whoever the first defensive player off the board is. I thought I saw something this morning. The defensive tackle from Texas might be the favorite now.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean it's all offense. I mean that's what everyone thinks still wins games.
Yeah, no, it's a very different draft, and you mentioned it. That record is going to go down tomorrow night for most offensive players picked in the first round. It's just a matter of how high do we get when it's all said and done. You're not. The way that I was looking at it, I think it's gonna be 23 that go in round one, which would leave 9 on the defensive end, and just the way that this league is gone. It makes a whole lot of sense on that. Vegas Matty with us here in studio right now. Footballcontest.com, the site for the best, to get all the information you need on the best proxy service here in Las Vegas. And I just want to go into this because you've been at this for a while now. What advice would you give for someone who has not entered these contests before?
It's a very good question. The hardest part is really finding a proxy. And you hear the pub, you hear the commercials for Circa Million, Circa Survivor. Super Contest has been one of the biggest contests for over 20 years in town. Really, you just want to find a trustworthy proxy. We've been doing this, been leading proxy service for the past 15 years. So we believe experience matters, and that's something you definitely want to consider when you're looking around. I mean, some people shop around for prices. We've tried to stay competitive as far as that goes over the years. But when it comes down to it, we just want people to be able to trust us with their picks, know that they're going to get in, know that if they have to call us in the middle of the night with something like worried about whether their picks got in or not, we're going to pick up the phone. We're available 24/7 once football season starts. Even before then, even guys like just go to our website, footballcontest.com, and they have questions, they want to talk more to a human being and not just go back and forth via email. Give us a call and we'll talk you through it. We'll tell you kind of what to expect. It's a pretty easy process to sign up, but you do need to get to Vegas to sign up. That is the number one thing. You got to get here, and we'll meet you down at whichever casino you want to enter the football contest at. And yeah, it takes maybe 10, 15 minutes to get signed up, and then you can enjoy the rest of your trip knowing that we'll take care of you the rest of the way.
How would you define proxy for anybody who doesn't know?
It's just like kind of a middleman between entering your picks. So you need to have that, unless you're in Nevada and you can put in the picks physically yourself, you need a proxy. And with the apps picking up steam, you do need to be within Nevada with your phone to be able to submit the picks on your phone. Otherwise, you could hire a proxy to do it for you. So that's why, really, we've got clients from all over the world that will sign up, and then they could play the whole season knowing that they could just submit their picks through us. But yeah, we're the person between the casino and them that gets their picks in.
Well, and that's the thing too. I think a lot of people who enter these contests now, especially with other national brands having their owns, where it doesn't matter if as long as I'm in a DK or a FanDuel jurisdiction, all right, it doesn't matter if I'm in Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, wherever it is, but for these Vegas contests, you just mentioned it, it is the most important point. You need to be within Nevada state lines,
Right.
and that's why if you live in Detroit, having a proxy is a requirement in order to be in in these things.
No, it's true, and these are still the biggest and best contests. I know other places online have contests, but I mean, you've got the biggest prize pools. I mean, Derek Stevens is going to announce, his guarantees here shortly, and
they will be large.
Yeah, they'll be very large, larger than any other ones you can play in legally, anyway.
Right.
And it's just if you want to get into the best contests, you got to come to Vegas.
I'll ask you this real quick because I don't want to make you pick and choose, but since survivors come into play at Circa, that contest, it really feels like it has a life of its own compared to the other contests. And it's not to say, there's anything wrong with the Millions over at Circa or Nuggets contest or the OG and Super contest, but it really does feel like that Survivor contest really just has taken on an extra breath and really just put just look at the numbers in all the other contests. Since that contest has come into the market, every other contest has gotten much bigger in part because I think of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely different animal, and I still have yet to see somebody enter like the Circa Million or the Super Contest and Survivor and do well in both.
Right.
I think at some point you kind of veer off, and if you're still alive in Survivor going into November, you're going to put all your eggs in that basket and go for that big prize. And it's a totally different handicapping style, picking 5 games a week versus just picking up that one team and trying to figure out the strategy, mapping everything out. Everyone has their own strategy how to do it. They've all got it mapped out before the season, but then you've got hiccups along the way that knock tons of people out, and the carnage takes place as early as September, and you kind of see what happens. But it's kind of picked up steam because a lot of people have known Survivor pools since way back when. And they've been dying to have something like that, like a higher stakes pool, and now you've got it.
Yeah, it evens the playing field a little bit because, I mean, those other contests where you have to pick against the spread, they're really tough, especially NFL is the toughest thing.
It is, yeah. It's really difficult, and that's why even, Circa allowed you to have 5 entries in the Circa Million. Super Contest allowed you to have 7 entries in the Super Contest last year. I don't know how many ways you could do 5 picks, unless you have buddies that you're buying entries for and things like that. There's different combinations. We've had people max out the entries, and they put the same picks in for 5 or 7 entries, and you're like, all right, well, at some point, maybe vary it up. But, yeah, I mean, it's crazy where if you buy in with 10 Circa Million or Circa Survivor entries, you could take 5 on one team, 5 on another, mix it up however you want. It's completely different, and keeps you engaged. But it's just a completely different way to handicap.
Oh no, it's the Millions and Super contests are hard contests, and I think people that
especially now to have to hit over 70% to win. That's really difficult.
You said exactly where I was going there, Matty. Where it's like in the past, like all right, get in the mid 60s, all right, you're going to get some money out of it.
Right
Now, like 67%, which is outrageous.
Right.
Might not even be good enough to get any.
Well, yeah, it used to be the golden rule is to hit 3 out of 5 every week.
3 out of 5, you're in great shape.
60% to cash at all, and now that's not good enough.
No,
so you have to hit about 63, 64% just to make some money back. So it's crazy. Just the number of entries.
And it's just a matter of again, like, and I think this does come back to Survivor being in existence, where, I mean, Super Contest was the biggest it ever was last year. Millions was even bigger than it's been in the past. There's no reason to think that coming into this year we're not going to have the biggest fields again.
Exactly. Yeah.
In all of them, and again for Survivor, there's more entries allowed in Survivor than there are in the picks contest. But it's kind of what makes Survivor fun because, like you said, hey, there's only how many ways we can go when we're doing 5. Survivor, I know it's one team a week, and you have to keep teams available. It'll be interesting now with it looking like the NFL is going to go play Christmas Day games on a Wednesday as well.
So we're so excited about that.
So there's going to be. We know that the team over at Circa likes doing those. They do. I've always done the Thanksgiving. Now they'll do Christmas with who knows what they'll end up doing. We'll find that out in the next month or so. But it really is. Again, these fields are so large that it's hard to cash. But hey, if you have the big year,
Yeah.
you're going to take home a lot of money when it's all said and done.
And don't be fooled. I mean, there's groups who go in and they'll buy 50, 60, 70 survivor entries.
Yeah.
They'll bring a group of 5 to 10 guys in and they all max them out. And I mean, who knows? They just think they can control the whole board. But I think it's very interesting that it seems like the guys who have done well in the contest recently have only had like one entry. We had the Super Contest Gold winner last year, and he was bummed that William Hill didn't have the college football contest. So he was going to do 5 entries into that contest. And because they didn't have the contest, he ended up doing 1 entry in the Super Contest Gold. Out of all of the contests in Vegas, he put all of his eggs in that one basket, and he ended up winning the money. So it's incredible with 1 entry. And
that's amazing.
Same thing happened. Yeah, we had this first Super Contest Gold winner too, and they were trying to figure out what contest they were going to do, and they just did 1 entry. So I think it's very interesting that guys that, without doing like tons of entries, they end up doing very well because they're just focused on that 1 entry and not trying to mix in a bunch of different picks and a bunch of different contests.
So you have a very busy schedule from July till Super Bowl. What does the rest of your year look like? What are you doing right now?
Just getting ready for this, really. Honestly, we met with Circa a week ago. Derek had a lunch for us, and we gave him some feedback on the contest. They're getting ready to roll there, and just trying to get our marketing stuff in order and trying to get the word out because we know, like, once the draft comes, people are going to start thinking about NFL, and then that schedule release is next, and then all of a sudden, they'll be open for the contest to sign up, and then we gotta start rolling. So. But that's basically it. I kind of had my vacation time already. Now it's time to get started with
You're
work.
ready.
So Matty, before we let you go here, just the easiest way for people to get in contact with you if they're looking for a proxy service, and then of course the easiest way for people to sign up for this draft contest tonight.
Sure. I mean, just two things. Footballcontest.com. Just go there. There's a little button on the homepage that says "Get a Proxy." It'll go to our contact page. Just email us if you have any questions. Like I said, we're happy to talk to you over the phone if that's easier. Makes people feel a little bit more comfortable knowing there's a real human being, especially with all this AI stuff. You don't know who's talking to you nowadays. But we're real, and we're here for you. And then draft.footballcontest.com is the free draft contest. And hopefully we'll get that thing up to – I'd like to double it, actually, in the next 24 hours. If we can get up to like 200 entries, that would be pretty awesome. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be open until the first round starts too, so we're not closing it off tonight. So if you want to get in tomorrow, do a little bit more studying, you can do that.
It is your pinned tweet right now, the contest for this week at Vegas_Matty.
Yeah,
on Twitter,
and then
as well.
Football Contest as well. Yeah,
exactly. At Football Contest as well. Footballcontest.com to go sign up, get Vegas Matty and Proxy ready to go. For all
your me and my partner Tony will take care of you this summer.
Absolutely.
And, just feel free to reach out to us, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us here today, Vegas Matty. Everyone. All right, we're gonna wrap, Alex. We're gonna wrap tomorrow on the show. Danny Burke joins you. You're on your own tomorrow. Good luck. On draft day. I'll be somewhere. I'll be somewhere out in the Arizona desert on my way to the Grand Canyon by the time the show gets going tomorrow. So that'll be fun. So Alex has you covered tomorrow on the show. Of course, that will lead you right into Gone Racing tomorrow with Brendan Gahn and Jeff Motley getting you ready for this week in NASCAR. Alex, good work as always.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you all on Friday, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for Alex White and Danny Burke here on Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio.